Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Ain't no woman like the one I got. Tori doing a little dancing around the studio.
I'm feeling the soul.
That's the 4 tops, not the 5 tops.
Or the 3.
Not the 3 tops.
Or the box tops.
Or the
which
box
is a
tops.
Totally different band altogether.
Yeah, that is a band, though. I've heard.
Yes,
Yeah,
the box tops.
All right. Back from that last segment, relaxed and a little calmer now. I have a story here, kind of along the same lines of that, though. I don't know if you guys have caught this. I think it's been making the rounds on the internet. It ran on local news in Jacksonville, Florida this weekend. And the news website, it ran on the news website for the local station there, which is WOKV, and the website being WOKV.com, of course. Instead of trying to read ahead and hit the high points in this article, I'll just read it straight through quickly here for you. But it's very interesting, and it kind of falls on that last segment and from the show last week. The column starts out, Aaron Harvey's son is in 4th grade in Duval County. Is that Duval? I think it's Duval, isn't it? Duval County, Florida. Everyone who knows is screaming at the radio, "You idiot!" Looking through his son's backpack a couple of weeks ago, he ran across a note that his son had left in there in his backpack from an assignment in school at the end of last year. Now, a note stated, and quote, this is what the note said, is written by his son. His son's in 4th grade, and it was written kind of, I guess, crayon or colored pencil, so he could recognize his writing, his son's writing. But the note stated, quote, "I am willing to give up some of my constitutional rights in order to be safer and more secure," unquote. The statement was signed and written and signed by his son. Mr. Harvey had obtained the guide for that particular lesson, which was apparently aimed to, quote, "create an awareness of the 5 rights contained in the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and help students determine their opinions on which rights they value most and least." The lesson included a visiting constitutional lawyer, which the district says is a partnership used specifically for these civics-based lessons. The lesson itself, though, isn't in question, but rather what Mr. Harvey says the teacher did after. He says the teacher selected several students out of the class to write that statement and sign it. Again, that statement was, "I am willing to give up some of my constitutional rights in order to be safer and more secure." And it's the same story. He has some other parents, apparently, and it's the same story he's heard from them who had children in the class. The school, Cedar Hills Elementary School, declined to comment, as did the school board member representing the school. Well, no, duh. Mr. Harvey reached out to the Duval County School District, which told him the lesson specifically is designed to develop critical thinking skills. In a statement issued to WOKV, the school district says, "Our possible concern rests with the follow-up activity that may have been conducted after the lesson. They are now investigating the, quote, facts of the assignment." Oh, isn't that nice? The school district has a, quote, possible concern with the follow-up activity. You know, the propagandizing of the students that they don't need all those pesky and inconvenient rights the Constitution gives them. His dad, again, Mr. Harvey, says the district claims his son did the activity on his own free will without any prompting from the teacher. Oh, sure he did. Personally, I'm a guy, but I was small at a time, and I know the concern for 4th graders or their constitutional rights and which ones they think they don't need or are willing to give up to be more safe. No, they're not worried about whether Mom remembered to put snack pack pudding in their lunch. It's which constitutional rights do they want to keep and which ones would they like to give up to feel safer. And by the way, which ones could that be anyway? Is it speech? Are they supposed to give up freedom of speech in order to feel safer? No, that can't be it. Maybe freedom of religion? Could that be it? No, I don't think giving that up would make you feel any safer, unless maybe you're in a Muslim country and you're a Christian. The interesting part of all this is the original class assignment specifies the rights contained within the First Amendment, and those are the rights of the ones being discussed. For those of you who might have slipped your mind which rights those are in the First Amendment, it's freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom to petition the government, and freedom of assembly. None of those could be given up to make you feel safer. So clearly the teacher means the Second Amendment and was swaying the students in that direction as well. Now, Mr. Harvey, again, that's the boy's father. Mr. Harvey says there is a meeting planned for next week where he plans to learn more about the intended assignment and the logic behind the follow-up activity. I don't think you're going to find logic in that follow-up activity, but hey, it's a free country. Look all you want. He says he doesn't want to see any punishment on the teacher, but rather an agreement that an activity like this wouldn't happen in the future. That's just peachy. Leave the teacher in the classroom to further propagandize future generations. Sure, that's the answer. I was with his dad up to this point, but this just demonstrates he has no backbone. I can guarantee if the situation was reversed, if a student came home with a note stating they believe the Second Amendment is the most important because it secures all the others, all kinds of hell would be breaking loose. All the liberals would be screaming for this teacher's head, and he would be run out of his job. No, Mr. Harvey, if this is the kind of education your son is getting, you should be calling for this teacher's resignation or outright dismissal. Because by losing your will and backbone, you are condemning future children to this same sort of liberal brainwashing. This is exactly why I stated on my show just last week, get your children out of these government schools. You don't want them there. Do whatever you have to do. Get them out right now. They aren't learning anything. Their academic achievements are virtually non-existent when measured against students from around the world. Certainly not on par with where they should be, seeing how we're the world's leading country, or we used to be. Now, China's kind of coming up. If you missed that show last week and you want to know how to listen to it, just jump over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. And it's all together, Patrick Riggins, R-I-G-G-I-N-S Show. And you can listen to that show where I covered some of the problems that they're having in government schools. And it's nothing that'll surprise you, along with all the other shows we have archived there. But this kind of stuff right here is why you shouldn't allow the government to educate your children. They aren't going to get an academic education. All they're going to get is this government is great propaganda. And when you leave your children in there, what you're saying is you agree with what they're being taught. It's just like when you don't vote. If you say, well, I don't want to vote because it doesn't make any difference in how these elections turn out. Well, when you say that and you don't vote, politicians see that. And they see voter turnout. And when people aren't turning out to vote, even if you're voting third party, what they see is people don't care and I can get away with what I want to get away with. And that's exactly what these schools see when you don't go down there and scream and yell and demand people get fired for teaching your kids, or not teaching your kids in some cases, the things they need to know, and stop propagandizing them. Anyway, we're up on the last break here on the Patrick Riggins Show. When we come back, we'll look at this universal background checks stuff real quick, and we have a couple other little things we'll try to get to in that last segment. And let's see. Yeah, We'll definitely get to universal background checks. We'll start off with that one. Here on the Patrick Reagan Show, residing on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network.